What's going on, Mad Hatters, and welcome back to the Madhouse. And if you haven't figured it out yet, we're talking Diggy Diggy Hole, right? The wonderful song, I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. It's a great song, but the deck is also great. So let me know in the comments, did you play it when it was super popular by DeCandy, when he first created it in set 5? I got to admit, I skipped out on it, but I've been playing it a lot this set, and it's felt great. So let me know, did you play it? Have you given up on it? It might be time to come back to it. But in this video, we have 3 games to look at, all on the draw as well. So really good ones to look at to kind of showcase the power of the deck. One against a really well-known Grandmaster player on Pixelborn Connect. We're going to talk about the deck list. We're going to talk about some tech options. And we're going to talk about some of the lines you might want to take with the list. Because it is an aggro... It's a... Maybe you call it a mid-range aggro. I don't know. For my Magic the Gathering, people that have been playing card games for a while, you could tell me. But it is aggro, but at the same time, it's not. It can go really fast, but you have the control options with the mines and the songs, and now Rhino as well. And the deck just has a lot of answers. It has a lot of ways to control the game like it couldn't before. And one of its bigger weaknesses being red-blue. Even then, it was 50-50 back with Hiram. It's not as bad anymore because they run out of draw so fast. So the deck still feels great, and I'm gonna show you guys some of what makes the deck so well. The very first game against Green Purple it showcases the power of the deck in a magnificent way. The power of mines is one of the most difficult things, but let's stop rambling. Let's make myself smaller and let's talk about the deck list. And the deck list we're running with is Kurt Spice's list. This is the one that he took to the Ink event where he took first place, and it was really similar to what I was running when I first started kind of messing around with Diggy Diggy Hole in this set, except I was not on this many Calhouns. I don't believe I was on any Calhouns. If I was, it was probably 2, but I was on 4 Daisies and 4 Happies. And he had the 4 Calhouns, and I was talking to him on Discord, and he had a really good reason for it. And he talked about it also in the interview, in that the Calhouns are just really good in this meta. When you see a lot of green purple, things like Ursula's coming down like that, and when you see a lot of Amber Steel as well, that Calhoun is just really difficult to deal with. They have to have a Zeus, a Strength of a Raging Fire to let the Storm Rage on, etc., etc. It trades with a Fox. It trades with a Crab. All these things that are really popular in our local meta. So that Calhoun really coming in nicely, and I thought about lowering it, but 4 has just felt good. Like I'm very rarely upset to see a Calhoun anymore because there's not many games where you just don't want to. Even against red-blue, it's not a bad card to see because it does mean they can't do anything with Tipo. It trades well into Grandma Tala, things like that. So the rest of the list, though, if we talk about it, the 3 Daisies is mostly because we're on the 4 Calhouns. That's why Kurt dropped that Daisy down to 3. And you're still on 4, 8, 9, 10, 11... here's more. So 6, 10, 14 1-drops. So you're almost guaranteed to see a 1-drop in your opening hand. And if you do even a 3-card altar, you're really going to see a 1-drop there. It is extremely important that you do see a line, though. You really want to see that 1-drop into the 2, into the 3, etc., etc., but especially the 1 into the 2. At that point, you'll draw at least 2 cards, so you'll probably draw, your turn 3. But getting that 1-drop down is just so powerful. A lot of the time, Cinderella is going to be that go-to play, but not always, especially on the draw. If your opponent starts with a baby Cindy, then your best line of play is probably going to be Daisy. So you ruin that let the Storm Rage on value for them. Looking at other things, it's just typical stuff. Rapunzel's Tower is one of the more debated things in Diggy Diggy Hole. Some people really like it, and some people really hate it. Tower is... I believe Kurt ran it when he qualified for Worlds, and it's just a great card because of things like Rapunzel, because Purple has a hard time. I've won games with Rapunzel's Tower simply because my characters went in there, and now crabs and foxes, they just can't trade with your characters anymore. And then if you have this Rapunzel's tower down, then if you had like a Happy already moved to a mine, now you can move him to the Rapunzel's tower and then back to the mine, right, to deal 2 damage. Whereas previously, if that Happy, the previous turn you move him to the mine, then he's stuck there and he can't do anything. So that's another really nice piece of that puzzle that Rapunzel's tower gives you. But this is the list overall. This is what we're going to be playing in the 3 games that we look at. But let's talk about some tech options. And there's not a lot. In previous iterations before Rhino, the deck used to run the, Kitas or Plutos. And when I talk Kita, I'm talking the shift version that gives all characters -3, I believe. And then also the Pluto, which is the 5/5 bodyguard, cost 4 cost that quests for 1. And that was really popular because you needed to fill that hole. But with the Rhino shift, that answers a lot of issues that Diggy Diggy Hole had before. If you guys remember, DeCandio would talk about how he wanted better 1-drops, but there just weren't any at the time. But so Rhino makes for a really good 1-drop. It makes it, that -1 attack on your opponent's characters really, really helps a lot of different trades or just questing ability. But also the ability to lay down that shift Rhino at any point is extremely powerful. So that the shift Rhino fills the 4-drop slot, and then the baby Rhino helps with the 1-drop slot. But let's talk about tech options. There's some guys in the Mad Hatters Discord, right? I'll have that in the description if you want to join. But they're enjoying Goofy. They cut their 2 Rapunzel's towers to run the 2 Goofies, and they're really liking that. And it makes sense because the Goofy, at the end of your turn, you may remove up to 1 damage from each of your other characters. Ready each character you remove damage from this way. And he quests for 2, and he's a 3/4. Being a 4-drop, he fills that hole really well. So he works really well with Smee, right? If you drop that Goofy, your Smee now becomes pretty much invincible, right? He's going to be readied every turn. But another really powerful thing about Goofy is he helps feed your draw. And what I mean by this is when you lay Goofy down, you can use Goofy to sing Let the Storm Rage On, or your Cindy to sing Let the Storm Rage on one of your characters. And then you get the draw from the Let the Storm Rage On, but then Goofy readies them. So now that character that quested and then was going to get banished by a fox or something else now is going to be readied, and you got to draw a card for it. So there is a lot of different opportunities that you could get out of Goofy. He reminds me of Penny. He's a card that does offer different lines that you could take, and that's a really powerful thing. So it helps with the Rhino, right, to get rid of that little bit of damage, so he gets his resist +2 back. So if you wanted, I would recommend it. Cut the 2 Rapunzel's towers, or maybe you want to cut, a Calhoun and something else, Calhoun in 1 tower maybe, and try the 2 Goofies. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. The other thing, the Daisy and the Happy, you could just go to 4 of each, right? You really want, you could cut the 1 Calhoun, go a 4th Daisy, and then cut 1 of something else and go a 4th Happy. And the reason I suggest this is because that Daisy just helping you with that aggro, but Happy, even more importantly, like this is what I would recommend going to 4 of before Daisy. He's an inkable, he's a 1-drop, but he helps with the mines. And there's games that I only won, I think 2 out of the 3 games, you'll see that I only won because of the mines and because of things like Happy and Doc. And that pinging 2 damage is just so powerful. And Happy being able to take out a genie, so powerful. Like, it's amazing. And then finally, Penny. I think Penny, if you wanted to, you could cut the piglets and add the pennies in. And the reason for this is she doesn't quest for 3, which is a little bit of a bummer. And she can be taken out by baby Sizu. But Penny offers your Smee survivability. It offers your Daisy Duck survivability against a fox. She heals your characters. She gives them resist. Your Smee can trade into their Calhoun. Your Rhino can trade into things without taking damage. So Penny is a lot of different versatility that you could run, and I would recommend running her over Piglet. And the other option, of course, could be Lilo's that I didn't throw in here, but Lilo Escape Artist in place of the Piglets as well, or even just a 2-2 if you wanted to. But those would be my ideas for tech options. I definitely mess around a little bit with the goofies though. I highly recommend it. I think you won't be disappointed. But moving on, I want to talk about a couple, this kind of little thing right here. And this is by no means the end all be all of all your plans, right? But what I have here is just kind of a couple lines, right, on one page of when there's so many more. But what's happening here, so I have safe, on the play, and on the draw. And safe means this is something you could do and you're going to be in a really good position no matter what. And why I say this, and even the on the play is a really safe position as well. And that's, but the safe here is because you can go happy on 1, and then the mine's on 2, and the potentially lady on 3. And you'll notice that lady on 3 is in all of them. And it's because she's amazing. She's an extremely overpowered card. She's great on the draw, on the play. She really just helps you get things in motion again. But when I mention this safe option, the reason I recommend happy on 1 and some mines on 2 is that you can move the happy on turn 3 as well as play another 1-drop. So maybe you really need to do that 2 damage to something, and that could be really big. Maybe you need to set up the Rapunzel heal. So if you go happy on 1, mine on 2, you move happy on 3 and play a 1-drop. So you play the 1-drop, you move the happy to mine, and then you ping the 1-drop for 2 damage. Then on turn 4, you can play the Rapunzel on the Daisy Duck or whatever you hit for 2 damage. And that gets you in the game, now you have all those 2 questers down, the mine is gaining you lore, things like that. So it's just a really good option. Of course, you have to be a little bit more careful. If you do go happy and then they start Cindy, it's not going to end well for you. But if you go happy and then they go fire the cannons, that's perfectly fine, because now on turn 2 you can set up mine, and that's going to be relatively safe for a while, because turn 3 you go lady into Calhoun. So if they now go into your mine, you can Calhoun whatever they turn sideways to take out the mine. Meanwhile, the mine is just gaining you all of this passive lore, and it's just really good. Now on the play, why Daisy into mine and not happy? Well, the reason is that you're on the play. They already have more cards than you. So you don't care if you draw them 5 more characters if you just get to 20 lore. So the reason we go Daisy into mine is, again, you're just getting that passive lore. And of course, mine could also be Piglet. It could be, a 2-drop, or even double 1-drops. But mine is just gaining you all of that passive lore. And if they're trying to take care of your Daisy, they can't take care of your mine at the same time, and it's going to take tons of turns. Because again, if you go lady into Calhoun, then what are they going to do? If they go into your mine, if they go into your Daisy, they're going to be giving you lore from the Calhoun. And man, if you run Penny on top of that, your Calhoun's probably not going to, perish or be banished when you take out that other character. So finally on the draw, and so for on the draw, you don't see the mine. And again, this safe option could be on the play or on the draw, but one of the big reasons Rhino's in this deck is because of just how good he is, and he's phenomenal on the draw. He's great on the play, but he's a little bit slower on the play. But on the draw, he is so good. It lets you get in the game in such a spectacular way, because now you go Rhino and you get that shift Rhino down, and then because of Lady, now you can also on turn 3 play Lady into another quester. So Rhino will trade into anything that attacks your questers, or he can just quest for 2 very safely, and then Lady just gets you back in the game. So Rhino on his own is good. He's a great card. But what makes Rhino so great in Diggy Diggy Hole is a card like Lady that helps you just make up for that lost time of running a shift in a more aggro deck. So just a couple different options and why I kind of like these different hands that you could run with. And of course, I should have thrown it in here. When you're on the play, if you have Cindy Storm, that's a great way to start. If you have Cindy Storm or Cindy Strength, that is a phenomenal way to start. Like it is. And DeCanio talked about it all the time. Like he mentioned that I will probably run the Cindy song package until I no longer can. And because it's just so overpowered, especially if you go Cindy and then let's say they pop Belle, on their turn one, then you can go Cindy, and then if you have 2 1-drops and drop a strength and banish that bell, and that might mess up everything for them. So those are a couple different lines and a couple things. I messaged Kurt. I asked him afterwards. I was like, "Hey, any advice? Any for people that want to play Diggy Diggy Hole?" And I was watching your videos. Go watch Garrick's YouTube channel. You can see the games. He had 2 live streamed games. Kurt did. It was some really great plays, and this is some of the advice from watching those matches. But Kurt kind of recommended looking at a couple things. Small altars, right? Small altars are everything, because when you run a card like Doc, you don't want to see 2. So if you see 1 Doc in your hand, you either alter it away for a big altar, or you alter really small. As long as you have a 1, 2, and then best case scenario, a 3-drop as well, you're keeping your hand. Like you'll see that in some of the videos with Kurt or DeCandio, they just keep 7 all the time. First off, it messes with your opponent because now they're scared. But second off, it keeps you safe from losing those or drawing a second Doc or drawing a 3rd Doc, and you just don't want that. Want either draw. What this means is you're trying to get a Doc or a Rapunzel. Doc is normally an easier option for you, but you're not upset with a Rapunzel either, especially if you do have the mines and things like that, because you can use the mines to set up the Rapunzel value. So you want one of the draw options, and I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make, is they get rid of that Rapunzel while they don't have a Doc, and then they just fizzle out of cards, and they're stuck in top deck mode, and they're praying that they see a Doc and they draw Rapunzel, but they haven't been setting up a Rapunzel, so they just top deck and then they fizzle out. So you're looking for either draw option in your opening hand. Worst case scenario, Rapunzel's inkable, okay? And then finally, mines are OP. One of the biggest mistakes I mentioned in the video already is that people do not value mines enough. And I hope when you watch these games, it'll help you understand why the mines are just so powerful, okay? They're little tiny machine guns with a 1-drop that is banishing everything, okay? The first game, I'm telling you, you have to watch the whole first game because you'll see the damage that I do with just mines. And it's the only reason I won the game, okay? So do not undervalue the power of a turn 2 mine, a turn 3 mine. It is phenomenal, all right? So ladies and gentlemen, these are the matches you're going to see. Again, all 3 on the draw against Green Purple. This is the higher ranked Pixelborn Grandmaster player. And then on the draw against Blue Steel and Green Red. And this is actually kind of interesting because I queued into the same guy, and the first time he was on Blue Steel, so I just assumed he was on Blue Steel again. No, the sneaky bugger, he mixed it up and pulled out a green-red deck. But it all worked out. It was fine. But sneaky. So, but yeah, no, they're great matches. And again, showcasing the power of Diggy Diggy Hole. So let's jump into that first match. All right, before we jump into game 1, I just want to say thank you for all your guys' support. Please remember, if you want to support me, a like, a subscribe, a comment. It means the world to me, and it helps so much to keep me motivated. And I hope that the videos help you guys. I really enjoy these gameplay commentaries. I'm going to keep dishing them out as much as I can, but let's get into the games. All right, let's do the first match. And again, this is against Green Purple, all right? And I got to admit, one of the things that I just love the most about this deck is the song is so catchy. Again, if you haven't watched it, all right, and it's, I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole, diggy, diggy hole. Diggy, diggy hole. Like, it is just so catchy. And Jonathan Young does a really good remix of it as well. Go check it out. I'll put the link in the description, all right? Let's make this bigger. There we go. All right. And let's get this match going. So I get my first 7 here on the draw. I'm a little bit, you know, I've been on the draw a lot, but it'll be fine. And this is my opening hand. So let's go ahead and pause it real quick. And what are we looking at? Well, nothing good, right? No, it's fine, but I'm worried, right? Because I mentioned that the thing you want to see more than anything else is 1-drops, and I don't see 1-drops. I do see a Doc and a Rapunzel, though. So again, you're looking for draw power. Calhoun, also really good on the draw. Rhino, good on the draw. So there's a couple different options here. I have a good 2-drop. I have 2 good 2-drops, and I have a great 3-drop. But again, I don't have a 1-drop. So this is where it gets really risky on how I want to go about my altar. Ultimately, I think just going 3. I think you can get rid of the Lady Smee Rhino, and then you keep this. It opens up your turn 2. It opens up your 1-drops or your uninkables that you could draw. Of course, could be a dock, which would be unfortunate, but Daisy is a great 1-drop uninkable. Let the Storm Rage on. So you could keep the Rhino in case you see the turn 1. You could keep the Rhino in case you see the turn 1 Rhino, the baby shift. So in that case, you could go Lady Smee Lady, right? And you keep the Rhino in case you see the baby Rhino. And in that case, I would probably go something like 1-drop Rhino into 2-drop Calhoun into shift 3 or shift 2 Rhino on turn 3. But just a couple different options. If I was on the play, I would alter very similar, right? Now this is green purple, so knowing it's green purple, I did not know at the time, but in the match it was blind. But now that I know that it's green purple, again, I especially want the Calhoun. The Calhoun's going to be huge to beat up those Ursulas and things like that. So really want the Calhoun. I really, of course, want the draw. And so I don't think I would do anything any differently if I did or did not know what their colors were. So I'm thinking these 3, and we'll kind of see what ends up happening here. All right, I'm thinking, okay, so I do push back the Rapunzel just because I do have the dock, and so that's fine. So, and I think even pushing back the Lady would have been fine, but yeah, see, and this is what I talked about, right? I mentioned how you want to do smaller altars because you don't want to see more than 1 dock, and that's exactly what happens here. So I'm already feeling a little bit scared, right? Now, you don't want to do big altars, but at the same time, you have to see a 1-drop. But running 14, I said 14 1-drops, the odds are really good that if you do a smaller altar, then you're going to see one. And I did 3, and I saw 1. So it does feel good. And I have easy inks, so things should be fine. I'm happy with Calhoun. It gives me time. The happy feels good if I can find a mine, things like that. So let's go ahead and speed it up and kind of see what happens. All right. So Chernobog's followers goes down, and I think I sped it. Yeah, let's speed this up a little bit. Okay, so I draw Rapunzel's Tower, drop the happy, really great. The Rapunzel's Tower was top notch. I would have liked to have kept it against purple, but I needed the ink, right? But I did make a massive mistake. Now let's go back actually. Let's see if we see his first color that he inked. See, it was green. So when your opponent inks a green card and then plays a purple card, or just, it doesn't matter. If they ink a green card, you know what they're trying to get on their turn 2. They alter for it because it's so powerful. One of the best 2-drops in the game. So if your opponent plays a purple card or a green card, then you know you need to ink your songs. So massive, massive, massive misplay on my part. I had no business keeping that Strength of a Raging Fire whatsoever. And I did. And you're going to see that I get super punished for it because I deserve to be. So keep that in mind. And once you see that green, unless you started with a turn 1 Cindy and you're on the play, you get rid of that song every single time. And there goes the Strength of a Raging Fire, and I deserve that. So, but now he knows what he's up against, and now I really know what I'm up against. So yeah, but there's the big mistake for the game. So let's see how it goes from here. I went to draw my card. I thought he was done, and he wasn't. So, all right, another Rapunzel's Tower. We throw down our Calhoun, and I take out that Chernobog's follower. Now, why did I do that over keeping it? Well, I don't need the happy 4 mines. I have 2 docks, so I have the mine triggers. I could keep happy to answer a genie on turn 4, but that Chernobog is just going to sit there gaining him lore or drawing him a card. And ultimately, I didn't want him to draw a card, right? So just to get rid of it, be done with it, move on with our lives. And I was happy with that choice. I think it was the right one. So let's see what happens. All right. Do I need to... Nope. Okay. All right. We see the Lyle come down. So Lyle's pretty spicy. Not one I expected to be seeing, but we do take it out. Get the free lore. Again, Calhoun just doing their job, right? We had no choice but to go that route. The lady goes down for the dock with no trigger. We have a mine trigger now, which is great. If we see a mine, the lady can quest for 2. Everything feels pseudo okay. Not really. We want to be a lot further ahead than this when against green purple, but again, it's a tougher matchup. So green purple is already a pretty tough matchup. It's tempo, and but that lady off the top is top tier because we can go ahead, drop both of those, and then we see our Seven Dwarfs mine as well, which is just amazing because now we have the ability to start pinging characters. So we lay down our Rhino and we go ahead and put -1 on the Ursula, and just we're in a really happy place right now. I'm really, now that I have the mine, I'm feeling a lot better. So he drops another Ursula. He sees the mine, which does create a little bit of panic for him because now he knows that I can start pinging damage. Now he knows I'm going to start gaining this passive lore and all things that the mine represents. So Crab comes down, unfortunately, takes out the dock. So that is some of my pinging ability there, but that's okay. Probably quest with the genie and pass. Diggy diggy hole, diggy diggy hole. Oh my goodness! Sorry, I was moving my face out of the way, and I see a second. I see a second mine, and this is best case scenario, right? This is everything that I wanted because now I can control a lot. And so I get the questing out of the way because now he has an issue. Unless he sees a fox here, he has to figure out do I take care of the mines that are going to start pinging my characters, or do I take care of the ladies that are questing for 2? Do I leave the baby rhino up that can potentially turn into a shift rhino, and then how do I take care of a shift rhino? So the second mine, again, and you're going to start, this is the issue that you want your opponent to be in. You want them to be in a place where they have to figure out, how am I going to do this? How am I going to handle what's coming my way? And now there we go. That's what happens. He goes ahead and he takes out characters. Now the Lyle does come down. Lyle is an issue. I did not expect the Lyle, but I gained 2 lore, and so already I've gained 2 lore from these mines. And let's see how things go from here. So we go 4, and we're gonna start machine gunning. Bam, bam. So once per turn, I can move damage, right? So I go ahead and I move the damage and I take out the genie, right? Because I can do a total of 4 damage, and I take out the crab. And the reason I took out the crab, and we'll pause it for a second. The reason I took out the crab was because I don't want him to top deck or have a fox in hand, and then he goes ahead and he slams the crab into the mine, and then fox and take out the other mine, and then Ursula and Lyle can finish my other mine, because then I lose. Then that's just game. So, but doing it this route is way safer. It's way easier. So I lose the 2 lore, but I take care of a huge card, and he just is left with nothing to take out my mines. So we'll go back, we'll push play, and he goes ahead, does 3 damage to the mine, and I top deck the Happy. My top decks were on point this game. Like phenomenal top decks this game, because now Happy can come down and I can start pinging stuff again. So we get the 1 Happy down, we go 4, and we take out the Lyle. And taking out the Lyle is huge, because now I'm not going to start losing lore anymore, and he can't bounce it to give my characters reckless later on if I get into that top deck mode where I just need a ready character to get me 2 lore. So top decking the Happy, amazing. And again, I would already have been out of this game if I did not have that if I did not have those mines, right? Mines are so powerful. Now I paused it because you need to remember your sequencing of moving Happy, right? Because you can only move a character to the location, or to a location. So the only way to get him off the location is he either gets banished or you move him to another location. So I already had a damaged one, so I needed that Happy to move on that damaged one, right? Because they're going to go after the damaged one if they can't remove the full health one. So now I have the ability to steal, move Happy, and deal 2 damage to something. So just keep that in mind, that's something you need to think about. So he plays a go-go, and 2 damage he can do to the mine. So right now he's able to clear the mine on the next turn, which is pretty big deal. Here go ahead and we quest for 1 with the Ursula, and I gain my 1 lore. So I've now gained 5 lore off of mines. We drop the Smee, feels good, and then now I just have to decide we can still move Happy, right? So now the decision comes, what do I move him to, or who do I do the 2 damage to? So we go ahead, we take out the, well, spoiler, we take out the go-go, right? Eventually, this was a tough choice for me. I think what was happening here is I was debating taking out the dog, because the dog's a 3/4. So that's kind of my thought process there, is do I need to remove that dog? And because he can 2-shot, right? So, and then we quest with the Happy, and well, we're happy. Oh God. All right. So he is in top deck mode now as well. So he does have a Diablo though that can get him out of that top deck mode, helps him draw a card because he can go into the Happy just like that. So that definitely helps and makes me a little scared. Sees the Hyena, which isn't fun, takes out the Happy, which I'm okay with, and deals 3 damage to the mine. I go to 14. So here I top deck something. Show the camera. Come on. Oh my goodness gracious, another mine. Okay, so we quest for 2, and then here I'm just looking to see how many mines I have left, and I have 1 left in my deck. But now this was a little bit of a harder choice for me, because I needed to figure out what did I want to move, which location I specifically wanted to move to, and then how I wanted to deal the 1 damage. So I was trying to think in my head, does it matter which location I move to? Because with the Hyena and the dog, he can clear the full health location, which is what he'll most likely do. Or he could trade. He can make the trade into my Smee, because that Smee is representing another 2 lore. So that's a big issue as well. So he does take the half full one, and he does take out my Smee. So now though, and this is why I dealt the 1 damage. So I could have dealt the 1 damage to either one of them, knowing that all I need to do is top deck a character, and then I'll be able to ping the other character. So I'm just praying that I don't top deck a Strength of a Raging Fire at this point. So, and what we do here is top deck. There's our 1 of 4 Calhouns. So, and we take out, the Bonsai or the dog, or either or, right? They're both dogs. And pass turn, we're at 17. And so now he has to top deck a fox or crab, or there's nothing he can do. Meanwhile, he would also need to top deck Elsa's or Lyle's for the rest of the game to stop me from gaining that 1 last lore. And then we go to, so, okay. So he opts to do nothing, which is actually really smart, right? He opts to do nothing because he needs to see an Elsa. If he can top deck an Elsa on this next turn, then he can exert the Calhoun and take out my mine at the same time. So that would work really well as well, because he could go 3. He would need more than an Elsa. I don't know. I guess there's the. He could also that strength of a raging fire though really helped seal the deal. I guess he could have also seen the new song, the lever, and that could have gotten rid of my Calhoun as well. But there's the dock, and that's kind of, yeah, there's nothing at this point. So, and then now I can decide, do I quest for 1 or just pass? I should have quested for 1 here. Again, the lever could have just removed the Calhoun. So I should have just quested for 1 and been done with it. But, all right. Yeah, so he needed Fox. That's what he really, really needed. But yeah, so a game against, some green purple tempo toolboxy kind of stuff. It was a good game, and again showcased the true power of the mines. All right, and we're back, and we're running some diggy hole into, well, at the time I didn't know what he was on, and I definitely did not expect blue steel. I saw this purple Olaf over here, and I kind of assumed we're at, facing some purple, but yeah, blue steel. Again, did not know at the time though. So let's look at our hand. We got our 1-drops this time. Like, look at that. Cindy, Rhino, Happy, Daisy. Like, this is a hand. I can go fast. I can control with Calhoun. I can do all kinds of nasty things with this hand. This is a hand that you could keep 7. Like, because, and the reason I say this is you can keep 7. You have the Daisy, which is great Rapunzel value. You have 4 Rapunzels in your deck and 4 Docks in your deck. So the odds are really good that you're going to see one of your draw options because you're on the draw, so you get that extra card. So you can go something like Daisy or Cindy on turn 1 and then threaten them really well. And so that's a pretty good option. So this is something you could keep 7 on. I have a feeling I'm going to send back 2, probably the happy and the lady, but let's kind of see what happens here. So I always like looking at how I alter going, in the moment versus when I see things going back, because I don't know, it just kind of see things a little bit differently, I suppose. All right, so we send back the baby Rhino and the lady. So we do send back one of the ladies, ultimately sending back the baby Rhino. Not, we have a lot of 1-drops. We have really good 1-drops. We could still go double 1 on 2 if we wanted to. And so we're just not going to bank on seeing that Rhino, because ultimately it's going to be a little bit slower if we go that route, and I think I'm happy with that choice. So let's go ahead and speed this up a little bit. Bang, bang, bang. Okay, here we go. All right, so we got our draw. Hey, there we go. We got draw, which is going to work really well with the Daisy. The strength of a raging fire is really nice. So we have quite a few options here, and this is a great hand, strength on raging fire, because we can go double 1-drop on turn 2. So then we can strength of a raging fire something if we really needed to. If we can ink it if it's green. So there's options here. We have good options in this game. I really like this hand. And we see a Cogsworth go down for a Popsicle. So here we go. And at this point, it could be Blurple, right? It could be a kind of an off-meta Blurple. Some of them run the Cogsworth to help with the Steel Song matches. But it can also be, Blue Steel, which is kind of what I'm thinking at this point. No, I think I'm probably thinking Blurple. But so we draw a second Rapunzel, so we can go ahead and ink that girl now. And then we can drop the Cindy. Again, Cindy's not going to be able to do a whole lot, but I can go double 1-drop on turn 2, and I'm feeling really good about that choice. One thing I did not expect, though, is I haven't been looking at Blue Steel decks because it's not the archetype's not very strong. It's still good. It can do some really good things like a turn 2 let the storm rage on, but I haven't been paying attention to it, so I didn't know that they were still running let the storm rage on, where Bell on 1 isn't a very, it's not something you get very often anymore. So that got me by surprise. So we go ahead, we ink the Pete, and now things are a little bit more shaky. Now it's a little bit more complicated because I lost my plan. I lost what I was trying to do. So we play the Calhoun, though. The Calhoun's going to stop that Bell from being able to do stuff. I could have played the Daisy plus Happy, and that would have been fine, only because it sets up the Rapunzel value if he quests into the Daisy going into my turn 4. But that's not something you can really rely on because most players aren't going to do something like that. They know that they have to respect the Rapunzel value. So I didn't want to bank on that, and I also didn't want to lose that Inkable because my hand's getting a little smaller, so I didn't want to lose that Inkable and the Happy in case I needed it. So we see the Fishbone Quill come down, the Pete go to the Inkwell, Desperate Plan go to the Inkwell, and his hand is getting a little smaller now as well. But going into what I believe is 4 ink now, but no 4-drop. Oh, but he played that Quill this turn, so he would have had to pay 3 ink, of course. So, but we draw our mine. We draw our mine, and that makes me so happy. Mine is just the best thing since sliced bread. It really is. So many things become possible with mine because now with mine I could go something like I could ink the strength and I could go Lady plus Happy, and that is going to allow a couple different plays as well. Or I could ink the Lady and go mine plus Happy, because if I go mine plus Happy, then at this point I don't really need the Lady, right? Because I can set up the mine, I can set up the damage from the Happy, so things are feeling pretty good. And that's exactly what I do. I get rid of the Lady because now, well, not quite exactly what I do, I guess, because we go ahead and we put that Daisy down, and what's happening now is I've set up Rapunzel value. I've set up kind of a Rapunzel lock, not in the sense of like I one Rapunzel down and I get play the Rapunzel on the Rapunzel, but lots of opportunity here because he's going to want to take out the mine. He's going to want to take out that mine, and now because of the mine, I'm going to be able to just start doing things. So I can slam, if he goes for the Bell into the mine, I can go Daisy into the Bell. Again, not really a move. Like, if you're the other player and you see a board like this for the Diggy Diggy Hole player, don't go after the Bell or don't go after the mine, okay? Do not hit into it because of what's about to happen here. And that's exactly why I recommend, like, do not go for that mine. Give them the 1 extra lore they're going to get anyways and take it out in 1 turn. Now, does it change a whole lot? Not necessarily, because Daisy still gets the Rapunzel value later, but now I get it this much earlier. So here, ink the Rhino. I was about to ink the Strength, but I'm about to play a Rapunzel. So playing the Rapunzel will allow me to have someone that can sing Strength. So it just wouldn't have been the best use of my resources. So that's the reason we go ahead and do not ink the Strength there, even though we're not going to be using it, right now. But we do a 1 to the Bell. He's got those great big dice. Good for him. I wish I had some big dice like that. And now we get the Rapunzel value. The Calhoun can go ahead and trade into the Bell if I wanted to. But meanwhile, we have 2 characters down. So next turn we can take out the Namari, right? Because we go Happy for 1, move for 2, and then sing Strength on Namari. So that is a really good move I can do next turn. And that's now most likely he takes out the mine here, which is a little sad, but I could also just go ahead with 4 ink. I can drop Calhoun, Smee, Happy, and sing Strength on the Namari. But here comes the Beast, and the Beast makes things a little bit more difficult. Now I have some choices to make. How do I want to handle this? He's got 4 cards in his discard, which is more than enough because he's going to be getting there more soon. So he takes out the Daisy Duck instead of the mine, and that messes things up a little bit because now I have to go back to my original plan of using Happy, I believe. But yeah, I don't know. What would you guys have done? All right. Would you have gone Namari into the mine, or would you have taken out the Daisy? Personally, I think Namari into mine would have been the right move because Daisy's only drawing you cards. Okay. Like that's a big deal. And it shuts off my machine gun value of the mine. So here, though, lots of options. We don't even have to move the happy yet. We can drop all three of these characters, use strength to take out the Namari. And it looks like that's what I'm going to do. And now my other option is I could have pinged damage on the beast. But the problem with pinging damage on the beast is beast, takes out the mine. Hey, even if he didn't have damage, he still takes it out. But we sing strength. We're getting later into the game against Blue Steel. I'm only on 4 lore. But I have a really great board right now. Like this is a really healthy board. Only 1 card in hand. But we've got the mine to start dealing damage. We can shut off the beast if we really want to. Like there's a lot of different options in our arsenal right now. So we're in a good position. And now I get a little annoyed because Helga and Smee, both characters that are going to be able to shut off the mine that I don't want that. So we'll kind of see what we get here and see. All right. So we see the strength of a raging fire. Or sorry, let the storm rage on, right? The cold never bothered us anyways. And now we have a choice to make. Do we shut off the beast draw, or do we take out some of their challenging characters? Now, and it looks like what I believe I do. Yep. So we hit the Helga. So the reason for this, and we'll pause it here, because you guys see what's about to happen. I'm about to move the happy to the mine, and I'm going to take out the Helga. So why do I take out the Helga over shutting off the beast or taking out the Smee? Smee and Helga can both take out the mine here. Smee, Helga, and Beast can all 3 take out the mine here. The problem with Helga is none of my characters trade into her well. With 4 health, she can challenge in anything and still live to tell about it. So my Calhoun can't necessarily take her out. There's just a lot of bad things that Helga could potentially do here that I just don't want to deal with. So in hindsight, I still think this was the right move because if I would have pinged the beast, then he could have gone Helga he could have gone Smee into the mine and then the beast into the Rapunzel, and it just goes really sideways really fast, and that's just not something I want to put myself into. So I go ahead and take that route of taking out the Helga. But here I ink the Pete, and we can go ahead and get down this second mine. Bang, and then now we get our little chopper gunner effects going on again. And here I'm just, so we take him out, put him on the weaker one, force him, and then we go ahead and pay 2 more to take out deal 2 to the Smee. And so we do this because now if he challenges into something, he loses the Smee, right? So I think, again, another good option. I don't want to do the Beast because if I would have done Beast, then Beast takes out the full health, and then Smee takes out the weakened one, and I'm down 2 lore per turn and my chopper gunner ability there. So yeah, just not what we wanted to see there at all. All right. Now, another thing is I could have done this differently. I could have gone full health mine into the weaker mine. So why did I do it this route? I want, in hindsight, I probably should have done it differently, right? I talked about sequencing in the last game is I probably should have gone full and then finished on the weak to force him to go ahead to hit the full. And that probably would have been the right move. I don't think there's a good argument to doing it the way I did it. I'll be honest. Yeah, because right now I just don't think there's a good argument. I'll be honest. So let's see what happens here, though. He's on a lot of ink. If he draws Tinkerbell would be a big bummer because he could not take out my board by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know where that dice came from or what I'm doing, but All right. Lucky Dime comes down. Flipping the Pete over for my ink. We'll go ahead and fast forward a little bit. Oh, no, we fast forwarded too much. Okay, so he takes the Smee out, takes the tower out. Bang. All right. See, and this is what I was talking about, because if I would have moved the Happy to the damaged mine first, then I could have pinged moved the Happy to the undamaged mine to deal 2 to Beast, and then taken him out with the Calhoun. And that would have felt really good. So again, that sequencing with how you use the mines is so important. So I definitely misplayed that one. And here I think I've noticed it, right? And I'm just like, God, that was just not smart. So we go ahead, deal Happy into Beast, and then Calhoun into Beast. Remember that sequencing. Calhoun has to banish the character to get the 2 lore. And we're feeling good. No characters on board. And I'm representing 15 right now. Or 5 to take me to 17. So things feel pretty safe. So let's see how we navigate this next turn. All right, Smee comes down. That Namari can take out anything on my board, which is unfortunate. The lady, though, is pretty good, so we play the 3 just to get her down, hoping that we don't see a grab your swords. We pay 2 to move 1 damage and deal it to probably Namari, I would think. Either one would be fine. Probably Smee, yeah, because if Smee challenges something now, then if he challenges the Rapunzel with Smee, which he wouldn't, but if he did, he's going to lose the Smee because, you know, if I draw character. So Namari wouldn't have made much sense, so the Smee is definitely the route to go. And unfortunately, he's just not able to do enough. He can take out Rapunzel and he can take out Smee, but I still gain 3 with the 7 Dwarfs Mine and the Lady. So really good game to him, and let's go ahead and check out the last game on the draw against Green Red. All right, so here is game 3, and again, this is against the same opponent, so this time I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm not really blind. I know what's going on here. I did accidentally do my altar. I altered 2 cards away, so I drew off of the altar, I drew the Rhino and the Strength of a Raging Fire. And what I altered away was a Dock and a Strength of a Raging Fire. I'm not unhappy with this. This hand is really, really positive. Again, I think I'm against blue steel. So Happy, I think I would have rather had a Daisy on turn 1 here. But the Happy is fine. Unfortunately, if he sees a Strength of a Raging Fire and a Bell again, then I don't play Happy on turn 1. I just kind of pass, and then I go Smee and then the Mines. Just, again, because I don't want to play that Happy and to just get hit with the Storm Rage on. I'd rather them sit on that Uninkable that now they can't do anything with. And maybe that forces them to use it on themselves. So really good hand, though. I really like this hand. Again, I'd rather Daisy be here against blue steel. But it all works out because, well, he's not on blue steel. He switched his decks, which is fine. You know, he was getting ready for locals. We see the Goofy and then the Diablo. And I'm like, wait a second. Wait just a second. I was so out of it that yeah, I was so out of it that it didn't even like in my head, I didn't even like a Diablo, like that's not a Bell. So that we show off the hand though. Let's see if I ink that Strength of a Raging Fire. Hopefully I do. But he sees those double mines, which is really unfortunate. But let's go ahead. We ink the Smee. See, again, guys, do not make the same mistake that I make, okay? Do not ink the Strength of a Raging Fire if you see them play a green card, okay? Every single time. There's no good reason for me to have that Strength of a Raging Fire in my hand right now. It is blasphemous. It is bad. It is not a good move whatsoever. So, got that out of the way. Now, he quests with the Diablo, so it opens the Diablo up into my Happy that I can remove if I really wanted to. He draws the 1 off of Diablo, so I have to make a choice. How much do I care? He didn't ink on his turn 2. I didn't even notice. It's one of the things about Pixel War Connect. There's so much to pay attention to, especially when I'm trying to make sure I'm recording and everything. Wow, he didn't even ink on turn 2. That's unfortunate for him. But we play the mine. We ink the strength this time because that's just what I should be doing. And we play the mine, and now we're representing an easy way to take out Diablo if we really wanted to. We see the Ursula come down that should have come down last turn. He probably just didn't have the ink. So I got really, really lucky, because if he would have been able to just take Ursula last turn, I would have lost that ink, and then I would have been stuck inking something I potentially did not want to. And in this game, Rhino is going to be really, really good. So I do not want to get rid of Rhino. So here, the answer is either Rhino or Piglet. Again, I don't really want to get rid of Rhino. So I'm hoping, because what can happen now is I can ink the Piglet and then I can drop a mine. And I could drop a mine if I really wanted to, or I can move the Happy to take out. So I can... What can happen is I ink the Piglet, and then I move the Happy to take out Diablo, and then I pass, right, with 1 ink, remaining. And it looks like that's what I decide to do. So we go this route, and then because next turn I can ink the Rhino or the mine to start, doing Chopper Gunner effects. So controlling the board with a 1-drop 2/1 that quests for 1. It's just so good. It's just so very, very good. So, all right. Yeah, I'm setting it up. I'm like, all right, here comes turn 4, double mine. Now here though, I see the Prince John come down, and now I've got to be thinking. Now I've got to respect that there could be. I got to respect that there could be a lot of discard coming my way. So do I go the double mine, or do I go the Rhino? If I go the Rhino, then it lets me keep my hand healthy in case Diablo does come down. I get this great 2-quester. Really not a bad position to be in. But what do I decide to do? Because if he takes out, if I go ahead and I ink the Rhino, and then I play double mine, which as you can see, that's what I'm about to do. If he double quests, or if he double discards, I'm going to lose my draw power of Doc. But at the same time, I'll have 3 mines down. And that's not super bad, right? Because that's a lot of damage that's 4 damage per turn that I can deal with Happy while also gaining 3 lore. So not a bad position to be in. So again, on the draw, he did miss ink on turn 2, but look at the position I'm in. This is a really, really great place to be. I'm at 2 lore, 4 ink. I'm happy right now. But let's see. Does he have the double discard? And if he does, well, that's not great for me. But let's go ahead. We'll see if we can fast forward just a little bit into the action. Bam. Robin Hood comes down. Am I sped up? No, we'll speed it up a little bit. Robin Hood comes down. This is unfortunate. This is not the card we want to see. But again, because we have Happy's going to be able to come in, take out that Robin Hood. No big deal. So we have the Calhoun, which is all fine and dandy. But all I care about, removing that Robin Hood. I don't want him to see that discard. I don't want him to see... I don't want to see the discard. I don't want to see the Pirate's Life or anything. I don't want to see any of the things that he can get off of the Robin Hood. A brawl even would not be fun, because then I lose that trigger. And here I get rid of the lady, because if he discards, if he double discards again, yes, that does stink, but I'm gaining 3 lore, okay? I'm gaining 3 lore per turn, and that's nothing, that's a lot. Right? That's a pretty big deal just to sit here and take things out. But look at that. He has to use a Dragonfire on my Happy because it's doing so much work. And that is the power of a 1-drop, okay? A 1-drop 2/1. So here I can go ahead and I can ink the Rhino, and then I can Calhoun and Doc in the same turn to draw 2 cards. And I still have 2 ink left over. So I could just go ahead and drop another Calhoun. And now he can't quest anymore. Like, it's it's just so silly. It's just so silly, right? So, all right, what comes next? Like, at this point, I don't know what could change. He could chain a bunch of Mauis. If he chained Mauis, that would be really unfortunate. So there we do see the discard come out. So he gets to draw one, which is unfortunate. Pete is a pretty good one, but I couldn't do anything with him anyways. I think I'd already inked that turn. I inked the lady. Maybe I hadn't. So maybe that was a misplay on my part. Sitting on one ink, or sitting on one card that I could have gotten rid of, would have been a really big deal. We see the Robin Hood come down again. The Ursula does have +2 or +3 attack, so she can deal quite a bit to a tap or to a mine if we really wanted to. So +2 attack from that action, and then now we can take out Robin Hood again. So 2, bang, and then 1, 2, bang to take out Robin Hood. And then I have a choice. I can either ink the lady or I can pass. The right answer is ink. Yes, exactly. So inking the lady is always the right move here because, again, you don't want that Prince John value. That's not what you're hoping to see. You don't want to give them that. You don't want to help them dig for the Mauis, things like that. Sudden chill. Oh, he had conceded. Yeah. So yeah, that was the game. He didn't have a great hand. I didn't realize he didn't have a turn 2 ink, which is unfortunate. But again, mines are what won me that game. Like, the mines, do not undervalue the mines. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's do a little conclusion. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Diggy Diggy Hole. This was the list again. If we get our face out of here, you'll see. Let me go ahead and turn this black line off. You'll see the list. Again, really fun deck. The deck really has no weaknesses in my opinion. The lowest it might go into anything would be 50-50, but I think it's really good in the meta right now, and a lot of people just aren't expecting it either. So I think you should give it a try. It'll definitely be in my Set Champs deck recommendations video that will be going out next week. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. All right, remember, stay happy and healthy. Until next time.